So I'm currently in Brussels, and while today is meant to be a pretty laid-back day, tomorrow is going to be anything but, because I want to travel from Europe to the Americas. But I'm not going to do it in the traditional way, because when I was looking at flights from London Heathrow to New York, they were pretty expensive, and then I started looking at the logistics for other countries, and I realized I could probably do it cheaper and more fun. So I need to be in New York for dog sitting at the start of next week, but I've got a little bit of time here in Europe, and what I want to do is a bit crazy. So my plan is start the day here in Brussels tomorrow morning and have breakfast, take the Eurostar to Paris and have lunch, fly to Montreal and have dinner, and then get back to New York. I'll still get there, but I'll be doing a lot more in between, and it's actually cheaper, which is the crazy thing. I don't know if it'll work because I do have some pretty tight time schedules, but I think it'll be fun. It's currently about 3 a.m. and I just got back from the ER. I was cleaning last night and accidentally cut my finger on a knife. So I'm gonna have to get a little bit of sleep before this train out. But this is definitely a snafu. I think I can still make it. I think I can still get everything and get the trips. The people in the ER said that should be fine. Just don't remove this for a couple of days. But yeah, that's a new one. Alright, it's 9 a.m. in Brussels, and here is the Mannequin Piss where I'm starting, which is one of the most famous statues in Europe, but I'm not here for the sights today. That was yesterday. Instead, I gotta go get some fries, frites, and then I gotta go get a waffle, and then I gotta go to the train station. And I don't have a ton of time to do this either. A little bit of additional info on that famous toddler statue, the Mannequin Piss. Despite not having an outfit on while I was there, the statue actually has a wardrobe of over 1,000 different outfits and its own full-time dresser. Look at this place. The Grand Place. Victor Hugo called this the most beautiful square in the world. And it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You've got the town hall with its 300-foot spire on one side and the king's house on the other. It's truly breathtaking. But I have to go get some frites. So Grand Place was actually a giant market back in the 12th century. And if you're ever there, look closely at the gold leaf on the buildings because it was hand gilded during the restorations. So I've been in this line for about 15 minutes. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my waffle or not. It's possible, but it's not 100% given the timing. I did not account for how long the line would be at 9 a.m.
Bonjour. Un fruit moyen avec de l'œil. Un poté.
Okay, so it is 9:25. I think I still have time for the waffle, but I can't eat the fries just yet. I gotta go get the waffle first. Crazy about the streets of Belgium is in 1695, everything was bombed to ruins by France. The locals just rebuilt everything in 5 years. So everybody knows the boy, but no one finds the girl. This is Jenica Piss. She was built in 1987 as a modern equal to the boy, and she's hidden behind a dead-end alley. So I've got my food, I've got my waffle, and I've got my fries partially eaten. It is currently 9:50, and I need to get to the train station. Now the real stress begins. I'm gonna eat these on the way because I don't have a ton of time, but I think I'll make it. All right, so I'm at Zuidstation, and Eurostar is just up this escalator. I don't have a lot of time to spare, but I think I can make it. All right. Train. Very short now. Gonna start to ramp up to about 300 kilometers. Paris, here I come. Bonjour, je suis arrivé à Paris et j'ai un peu faim. I've arrivé, I've arrived in Paris and it's about 11:40, just past. I have to go from Gare du Nord to Gare de l'Est. I'm a little hungry, but I can eat. And I've got to go to the restaurant pretty quickly because I don't have a ton of time before I have to get to Orly for my flight out to Montreal. But it's a pretty quick stop between those two stations. This is about a 10-minute walk between the two stations of Gare du Nord and Gare de l'Est. And Gare du Nord is the busiest train station in Europe, actually. About 700,000 people pass through here every day. The 10-minute walk between them, you can kind of see what used to be really industrial, and there's a lot of street art. It used to be on the outskirts of the city. Obviously, it's not anymore. And Gare de l'Est, which is where I'm walking to, is actually one of the oldest stations in the city, as well as being the original departure point for the legendary Orient Express back in 1883. It has a real Belle Époque look because it was built to impress the travelers that were heading towards Istanbul on that overnight train. When in Paris, l'escargot, snails are a must. Garlic, parsley, and just a little bit of meat. Absolutely delicious. Alright, snails are finished and the steak is here. Also forgot to mention, this restaurant is famous for writing your order on the napkin in front of you. So they've done that here. So this is going to be a fun game because I forgot to ask what the flavor was.
It's the sorbet du jour.
Sorbet of the day.
Oh, it's melon.
When the waiter doesn't clock that you're not French in Paris until you pull out your American credit card, I call that a win. And it was a very good lunch. So it's about 1 o'clock and I have to get to the airport now to fly to Montreal. Alright, so I'm back in Gare de l'Est and I have to go to Paris Orly now. So I'm going to have to go into the Paris Metro and take line 4 basically straight through the heart of the city, passing under Notre Dame and the Seine. But I'm just going to be hoping for no delays because it's about an hour to get there and it's just around 1 o'clock right now. Here we go. Alrighty, we are at Orly Airport and I think we're going to make it. Walking to Terminal 4 right now, it is just about 2 o'clock. So, assuming the security is not too bad, we should be right on time, if not a little bit of extra time just in case. Alright, we're in line. The line is quite long, but look at this. It's got a little hat. I know I fell for the marketing, but I don't regret it. Next stop, Montreal. All ready to go. Alright. Currently halfway across the Atlantic and halfway through this flight, trying to beat time and chasing the sun. I don't think we're going to beat the latter, but I do think that we'll be on time for dinner in Montreal. You can just see the sun here. It's just there. We're just going to lose to it. I know we think air travel is commonplace, and it is, but I know we also sometimes forget just how amazing it really is when you're in the sky. I don't know, it's just a romantic feeling. Alright, it's just about 7 o'clock. I've arrived in Montreal, and the border guy gave me a look that's like, well, that's a new one. When I explained to him what I was doing in Canada, because I'm really just here for dinner and then I'm headed straight to New York. And I mean, he said enjoy the trip. It's absolutely freezing over here. Not only did I change continents, I also changed weather. I need to figure out where to go to get into the city center from Montreal. 7:47. I'm just following the signs here. I've never actually been to Montreal, so when I've been to Brussels and I've been to Paris, it was a lot easier. This is slightly more concerning because it's already like 7 o'clock right now, so I don't have a ton of time to grab poutine for dinner before I have to leave for New York. Wish me luck. Alright, so it feels like negative 24 or negative 11 outside, so I broke out the hat and the scarf because we have entered an entirely different climate than we had in Paris. I've got a little bit of time, I've got to go get some poutine, and then I've got to head to New York. I'm not even outside yet, and you can already see my breath. It's so cold. I literally feel like the scene from Cool Runnings, where they come from a mild temperature, and then they come to Canada, and then they return to bundle up, and then leave. I do wish I had more layers on me. Okay, so I don't think poutine is gonna happen, because it turns out the place that I was wanting to visit is absolutely packed. And I walked around the city for about 20-ish minutes trying to find a place with poutine, and I couldn't. So instead, I'm gonna pivot and go with another typical French Canadian cuisine item, crepes. This one in particular is a very fruit-forward crepe, so I love that. But I'm a bit bummed, but you know, you gotta make sacrifices, and I gotta get back to New York. Okay, so I'm officially back in New York after quite a long day of travel and a close call in Montreal. In hindsight, I guess I should have planned and had a backup restaurant for Canada, but live and learn. It all worked out. You know, I'm glad I found that creperie, but it was also pretty good. Now, did I actually save money though? That's the question. At the start of the video, I showed where I had a round trip from London Heathrow to JFK. On the low end, those are about £950, so I'm going to be using that for reference. That was round trip, and while I do have a flight back from Heathrow, or to Heathrow, for 5,000 Delta points and $5, for the sake of this, I'm just going to divide the cost by 2 and say that I wanted to stay under £475. Did I do that? Well, we've got the numbers here. The train from London to Brussels was £45. My stay in Brussels was €9. The food in Brussels was a combined €15, with transit being another €7.20. The train from Brussels to Paris was £35. Lunch in Paris was €27. Plus, I spent €4 on the smoothie with a little hat, which I don't regret, by the way. Getting to the airport was €14. The biggest cost by far, the flight from Paris to Montreal, was €202. Getting from the airport to Montreal city center was $11.25 Canadian. The crepe in Montreal was $15 Canadian, and getting back to New York was $66. So grand total after converting everything, approximately £455. So I saved £20. I call that a win.